He thought he'd bought a spaceship, but instead he got trapped with an alien bride. Simon Granger never thought a simple late-night auction could change his life forever. Was supposed to be a joke, a distraction from the endless monotony of his space trader routine. He had no plans to buy anything important, just maybe a rusty old transport cruiser to pass the time. But when he saw the battered Star Cruiser going for a price so low, it seemed like a scam. Something inside him clicked. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was just bad luck. Without much thought, Simon placed a bid, and then another. The auction ended, and against all odds, he won. The Star Cruiser was legally his. But what he didn't know was that inside this battered ship waited something or someone he was never prepared to find. The docking bay was dark and smelled like old metal and forgotten dreams. Simon stepped inside, expecting broken panels, faulty circuits, maybe some rodents. What he did not expect was a blade pressed against his throat. The hum of the plasma knife vibrated through the air, its edge glowing with a deadly blue light. His heart slammed against his ribs as he froze in place. The woman holding the knife was unlike anything Simon had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with an electric violet hue, glowing faintly under the dim lights. Her eyes, silver and sharp, seemed to look straight through him, filled with equal parts suspicion and danger. She was tall and graceful, but every muscle in her body was tense, ready to strike if Simon made the wrong move. "Who are you?" Simon managed to ask, voice shaking. The alien's voice was smooth but edged with steel. "I should be asking you the same question. This ship is not yours." Simon raised his hands slowly, trying to show he meant no harm. He pulled out the auction receipt and activated the glowing hologram floating above his wrist. The text flickered in the dim light. Purchase confirmed. Final bid, 400 credits. Owner Simon Granger. Her eyes scanned the hologram and then back to him. The knife didn't move. "This ship was never meant to be sold," she said quietly. Almost bitterly, "It belongs to my people." Simon swallowed hard. The words sank deep into him. This was no ordinary auction. He had bought a ship with a secret, with a history he couldn't even guess. The alien woman lowered the blade, her expression softening just a little. "Name's Lyra," she said. "And you, human, just bought more than a Star Cruiser. You bought a destiny." Simon's mind raced. Why was she here? What dangers did this ship hide? And most importantly, how did he end up the owner of a ship that came with an armed, mysterious alien inside? Lyra led him through the ship, pointing out the hidden compartments. The reinforced bulkheads and the advanced weapon systems buried beneath years of dust and neglect. This wasn't just a ship. It was a weapon, a fortress, and a prison all in one. Simon realized this ship had a past, one filled with danger, betrayal, and secrets that had made it a target for enemies across the galaxy. The auction was a trap, a way to get rid of something no one wanted to claim. And now, Simon was stuck in the middle of it, as they navigated the dim corridors. Simon noticed how Lyra moved with the precision of a trained warrior. She wasn't just guarding the ship. She was guarding something inside herself. Something she wouldn't let go easily. Despite his confusion and fear, Simon couldn't help but be drawn to her. There was something magnetic about the way her violet skin caught the light, how her silver eyes softened when she spoke of her people and their lost home, and there was a fire beneath her calm exterior that promised more than just danger, promised passion. Simon's thoughts flickered to the stories. He'd heard of humans and aliens coming together. Odd, rare, but powerful. And suddenly, he wondered if this reckless gamble at the auction was fate, nudging him towards something far bigger than just a Star Cruiser. As they reached the cockpit, Ira tapped a few commands into the console. The ship's systems hummed too. Life and the holographic display flickered, showing star charts and unreadable symbols. Simon felt a thrill run through him. This ship wasn't just old tech, it was alive with secrets, and he was now part of the story. Lyra turned to him, her eyes sharp but not unkind. "You should know, Simon, this ship is marked. Dangerous factions are hunting it and anyone who claims it. You're not just buying metal and circuits. You're stepping into a war you never asked for." Simon, exhaled slowly, trying to steady his racing heart. The auction was no joke, no late-night whim. It was the beginning of something that would change everything: his life, his heart, and maybe even the future of two very different species. He looked at Lyra, the alien woman with a fierce spirit and secrets deeper than space itself. And in that moment, Simon knew he was no longer just a simple space trader. He was a player in a cosmic game of love, danger, and destiny. And there was no turning back, ChatGPT said. Simon's heartbeat hadn't yet settled when the ship's low hum was broken by a sudden crackle over the comm system. Lyra's silver eyes narrowed, fingers dancing over the console as she tapped a sequence with practiced ease. "We're not alone," she said, voice low but steady. Simon followed her gaze to the main viewport.
Out there on the complex,
A sleek, dark vessel slid silently toward them, its shape sharp and menacing. It wasn't just a random ship, it was a hunter's shadow. Lyra's tone hardened. "They're looking for this ship hand for me." Simon swallowed hard. "Who are they?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stepped closer, the scent of her a spicy, intoxicating perfume that clung to the recycled air filling. His senses. It was unlike anything human, both wild and familiar. His throat went dry as she reached out and pressed a firm hand against his chest. "You're caught in this now? You'll need to be more than just lucky to survive." Her words hung between them, heavy with promise and threat. Simon was no soldier. His life had been simple, trading rare minerals and tech parts across systems, far from political intrigue. But this was different. This was war. As the dark vessel closed in, Lyra guided Simon through the ship's hidden armory. Rows of weapons glinted under flickering lights: plasma rifles, energy blades, and compact devices Simon couldn't even begin to understand. "You'll need to know how to use these," she said with a dry smile. "Lucky for you, I'm a patient teacher." But it wasn't just the weapons that intrigued Simon. Watching Lyra move through the ship, confident, fierce, yet oddly graceful, made his chest tighten in ways unrelated to danger. She was an enigma wrapped in strength and sensuality. "Biology," she said suddenly, eyes flickering with something unreadable. "Humans, you're different. Physically, well, let's say your species has some advantages." Simon raised an eyebrow. "Advantages, huh?" Lyra smirked, a mischievous glint in her eyes, especially when it comes to intimacy. Her voice dropped to a teasing murmur. "You're well endowed, stronger, enduring." Simon blinked, the words stirring a strange mix of embarrassment and pride. The thought of being biologically superior in such a personal way to an alien species was both funny and fascinating. "But don't get cocky," Lyra added with a wink. "That's just one piece of the puzzle." Their training sessions were a dance, part combat, part courtship. Lyra's lessons were intense, her touch both firm and teasing as she showed Simon how to handle weapons and read alien tech. But when the training ended, something unspoken lingered between them. One evening, after narrowly escaping a patrol of hostile mercenaries, Simon found himself alone with Lyra in the ship's cramped quarters. The air was thick with the scent of her pheromones, and Simon felt every nerve alive, every sense heightened. Lyra's violet skin seemed to glow softly under the dim lights. She looked at him with eyes that held centuries of secrets and a promise of something more. Simon's voice caught as he said, "I never imagined something like this. Something like you." Lyra smiled, a rare softness breaking through her warrior's mask. "Neither did I, but now you're here. I'm not letting go." That night, their connection deepened, not just in words or touch, but in a melding of biology and desire. Simon discovered the truth behind Lyra's teasing. Their bodies were different. Yes, but their passions were powerful, electric, and perfectly matched. For all her alien grace, Lyra found in Simon a strength she'd never known, a human vigor that ignited her in ways beyond anything her species experienced. And Simon, in turn, was captivated by her otherworldly allure, her fierce intelligence, and the way she challenged every part of him. Their bond wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about something deeper: trust, longing, and a future neither dared to imagine. But danger was never far away. As their enemies closed in, Simon and Lyra realized their greatest challenge wasn't just escaping the hunters, but building a life together, one starship jump at a time. Simon had never given much thought to biology beyond the usual traders. Knowledge of compatible atmospheres and dietary needs, but Lyra's words about human advantages lingered in his mind, teasing and tempting him with their hidden meaning. The ship hummed softly around them as they settled into a tentative routine, dodging bounty hunters one day, exploring ancient star charts the next. Yet beneath the surface of their uneasy alliance, a quiet curiosity simmered. One evening, as the ship's artificial gravity hummed steadily, Lyra approached Simon with a sly smile. "You're stronger than you look," she said, voice low, eyes glinting. "Stronger and stronger. And different." Simon raised a brow, caught off guard by her sudden tone. "Different how?" Her violet skin seemed to ripple faintly, bioluminescent patterns flickering like distant stars. "Our species. We are delicate in ways humans are not, physically and intimately." She stepped closer, the soft scent of cinnamon and something richer drifting between them, wrapping around Simon like a warm, invisible cloak. He swallowed, feeling an electric charge in the air. "You mean," he started, unsure if he wanted to hear more. "Yes," Lyra whispered, a teasing smirk curling her lips. "Humans have a reputation. Big, strong, enduring. Especially when it comes to matters of pleasure." Simon chuckled nervously, the classic awkwardness of the topic making his pulse race for reasons beyond fear. "I guess size does matter." "Huh?" Lyra laughed softly, a sound like distant thunder rolling through a starry sky. "In our culture, intimacy is sacred but limited by physical constraints. Your gifts could be a revelation." The idea was both provocative and amusing. Simon had spent years navigating the rough edges of space and trade deals, but never imagined he'd be the center of an interspecies conversation about sexual biology. Yet Lyra's confident gaze made it clear she wasn't joking. Over the next days, their bond deepened in unexpected ways. Lyra taught Simon about her species' delicate nervous system, how certain touches could overwhelm or soothe, and how their pheromones worked like a symphony of subtle commands. Simon, in turn, shared the human side: strength, endurance, and a passionate nature that could not be denied. Their nights became a dance of exploration and discovery. Lyra's lithe form curved beneath the soft lights of the ship's quarters, glowing faintly as Simon's hands learned the language of her skin. He marveled at how his strength complemented her grace, his larger hands. Firmer touch awakening sensations she'd only dreamed of. In turn, Lyra's unique biology teased and challenged Simon. Her bioluminescent patterns shifted with every touch, glowing brighter with pleasure, guiding him in ways no human lover ever could. Her pheromones wrapped around him, making his senses sharp and desire impossible to resist. Simon realized that despite their differences, they fit together in a way that defied logic. Where she was delicate, he was strong. Where she was ethereal, he was grounded. Their connection was both physical and emotional, a blend of human resilience and alien elegance. But it wasn't just about passion. As they shared whispered conversations in quiet moments under the ship's starry canopy, Simon sensed something deeper in Lyra's gaze: a longing for belonging, for family, for a future beyond war and fear. He thought of the stories he'd heard about humans, how their species had thrived against impossible odds, how their biology gave them unexpected advantages in the most intimate of battles. And now, here was living proof, wrapped in violet skin and glowing eyes, teaching him that humanity's greatest strength wasn't just survival, it was love. One night, as the ship drifted through a quiet sector of space, Lyra traced her fingers along Simon's jawline, her touch both tender and electrifying. "You're not like the others," she murmured. "You have a fire I thought was lost to my people." Simon smiled, feeling a warmth spread through his chest that had little to do with the ship's life support. "Maybe," he said, "it's because I'm human." In that moment, the vast emptiness of space faded away, leaving only the two of them, different, yet connected, fragile yet powerful. Bound by biology and something far greater, their journey was only beginning. Simon and Lyra's partnership grew stronger with each passing day, forged in the heat of constant danger and tempered by moments of rare tenderness. The Star Cruiser wasn't just a ship anymore. It was their shared home, a tiny world drifting through the cold vastness of space and within its cramped quarters. Something far more complex was unfolding in unlikely romance that neither of them had expected, yet neither could deny. Lyra was a warrior, trained to survive by any means necessary. But beneath her fierce exterior was a woman who longed for connection, for trust, for something real. Simon, with his easy humor and stubborn human heart, was unlike anyone she'd ever met. He stumbled through alien customs with a mixture of awe and awkwardness, his straightforward nature both refreshing and endearing. One evening, after narrowly escaping a deadly ambush by mercenaries hired to capture the Star Cruiser, Simon found himself sitting alone in the dim glow of the ship's common area. His muscles ached from the fight, but his mind raced with thoughts of Lyra, her fierce loyalty, the way her violet skin shimmered under the emergency lights, and that intoxicating scent that seemed to follow her like a living thing. Lyra entered, quietly, her silver eyes catching the faint light as she moved toward him. She sat down beside him, the air thick with unspoken words. Simon looked up, trying to steady the rapid beat of his heart. "You know," she said softly, "for a human, you're surprisingly good at this." He chuckled, wincing as he shifted. "You mean surviving mercenary attacks?" "Yeah, well..." Had practice running from trouble. She smiled, a rare warmth breaking through her usually guarded expression. "You're braver than most, and different." Simon raised an eyebrow, leaning back as he studied her. "Different how, besides being stunningly beautiful with skin that glows?" Lyra laughed, the sound like a melody that eased the tension. "In the room? You don't just mean that?" "No, I mean it." He paused, his gaze steady. "You've never trusted anyone like this before, have you?" Her eyes darkened, and for a moment, the fierce warrior faded away, replaced by someone vulnerable and real. "No," she admitted, "but with you, it feels different." Their connection deepened that night, built on shared fears and quiet laughter, on whispered stories of lost homes and dreams for a future beyond endless conflict. Simon learned about Lyra's people, fragile but resilient, graceful but endangered, and she learned about humanity's stubborn heart and relentless hope. Their romance was not a sudden flame, but a slow-burning fire. A dance of trust and desire. Lyra taught Simon the subtle art of her people's pheromones, their power to calm, to excite, to bind. Simon, in turn, showed her the strength of human touch, the way a firm hand or a lingering kiss could speak volumes without words. One afternoon, while repairing a damaged engine panel, their hands brushed. The spark was undeniable. Lyra's silver eyes locked with Simon's, and in that charged silence, the boundaries between alien and human began to blur. "Why do you do this?" Simon asked, voice low. "Risk everything for a stranger you barely know?" Lyra's smile was enigmatic. "Because sometimes, a stranger is the only chance you have." Their first kiss was tentative, soft lips, meeting in a moment that felt like the quiet before a storm. But as their bodies pressed closer, that storm broke loose, a wave of heat, desire, and unspoken promises. For Simon was more than attraction. Lyra was a mystery and a challenge, a fierce partner who awakened something primal and tender all at once. For Lyra, Simon was a revelation, a human whose strength and passion defied her expectations, and whose heart opened a new world. Their nights were a blend of whispered confessions and fiery embraces. Lyra's delicate frame leaned into Simon's broader form, their differences a source of both fascination and pleasure. She discovered the power of his human biology, his endurance and strength gifts that made their intimacy electric and unforgettable. Simon marveled at her alien grace, the way her skin shimmered with bioluminescence when aroused, the intoxicating scent that wrapped around him like a secret language. Each touch was a lesson. Each kiss, a promise. But beyond the physical, their romance blossomed into something deeper. Bond forged in trust, respect, and the shared hope of building a life together amid the stars. Yet even as their hearts entwined, the dangers they faced loomed ever larger. Their enemies were relentless, and the galaxy was watching. Simon and Lyra knew their journey was only beginning, and the future they dreamed of was still a fragile spark in the darkness. But for now, in the quiet moments between battles, they held on to each other, two souls from different worlds, united by love, strength, and the unbreakable will to survive together. The quiet moments were rare, and when they came, Simon and Lyra used them to uncover the deeper secrets buried within the Star Cruiser's hull. One evening as the ship drifted through a silent sector filled with distant stars, Lyra accessed a hidden compartment deep within the ship's engineering bay. The panel slid open with a hiss, revealing a stack of encrypted data drives, ancient, worn, and dangerous. "This," Lyra said, voice heavy with meaning, "is why they hunt us." Simon leaned in, his fingers tracing the edges of the drives. The cold metal, a sharp contrast to the warmth spreading through his chest from her proximity. "What exactly are we dealing with?" Lyra's silver eyes darkened. "These drives hold stolen secrets illegal genetic. Technology designed to enhance human biology beyond anything the galaxy has seen. They're a threat to powerful empires who want to keep humans weak and controllable." Simon's mind reeled. Genetic enhancement. That explained the vicious pursuit, the mercenaries, and the bounty hunters who never gave up. And it explained something else, the strange strength he felt, the surge of vitality and endurance that sometimes caught even him off guard. "Is this why you said humans are different?" Simon asked quietly. "Oh, not just because of biology, but because of what we could become?" Lyra nodded. "Exactly. This technology could elevate humans physically, mentally, even intimately. It's the reason they want to erase anyone connected to it." The weight of their discovery pressed down on Simon like a star, crushing him with its gravity. He wasn't just a traitor caught in a bad deal anymore. He was a protector of a secret that could change the course of history. And that secret was wrapped up in his body as much as in those data drives. As they delved deeper into the encrypted files, Simon saw images and data that startled him. Blueprints of enhancements that amplified human stamina, endurance, and reproductive capabilities. Reports described experimental trials where human subjects outperformed every alien counterpart. Their bodies resilient and their passions unmatched. Lyra's gaze flicked to him, a mix of pride and something softer. "You're not just a man, you're a symbol of what humanity could be." Simon's lips curled into a wry smile. "So I'm a walking, talking biological advantage, figures." But there was no humor in Lyra's eyes. She reached out, her fingers brushing against his hand. "That advantage is why we have to fight to protect the future for us and for the generations to come." Their intimacy took on new layers after that night. It wasn't just passion anymore. It was a merging of biology and purpose. Simon learned how Lyra's delicate alien physiology responded to his strength, how their differences enhanced every touch, every kiss, every shared breath. Their bodies spoke a language older than words, a testament to resilience, survival, and desire. In quiet moments, Simon marveled at the way her skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in rhythm with their connection. He felt the unique heat of her pheromones weaving through his senses, drawing him closer, binding them in a dance of instinct and affection. But danger was never far. The ship's sensors warned of approaching vessels hunters eager to claim the secrets and power. Simon and Lyra now guarded. Each encounter sharpened their resolve, each escape a testament to their growing synergy. Simon realized that their love was more than a refuge, it was a weapon. The combination of human biological superiority and alien cunning made them nearly unstoppable. Their bond gave them strength, fueling every desperate maneuver and every stolen moment of peace. Yet, beneath the adrenaline and the battles, a deeper truth settled in Simon's heart. This wasn't just survival, it was the beginning of a new legacy, one where human passion and alien grace could forge a future no empire could control. And as Lyra's hand found his, their fingers entwining in the dim light of the Star Cruiser's cabin, Simon knew they were ready. Ready to face whatever came next together, stronger and unbreakable. Asterisk, the stars outside the viewport glittered cold and distant. But inside the ship's cramped quarters, a warmth was spreading. One born not from the ship's life support systems, but from the bond growing between Simon and Lyra. Their journey had changed them both. It was forged by danger, discovery, and a passion that defied the vast emptiness of space. It was late when Lyra finally let her guard down, sliding closer to Simon on the worn couch that served as their resting place. The soft glow of the ship's emergency lights bathed her violet skin in a gentle radiance, highlighting the subtle, bioluminescent patterns that danced along her arms. Simon's eyes traced the familiar curves with a mixture of awe and tenderness. "We've come so far," Lyra whispered, voice tinged with something like hope. "From strangers thrown together by fate to something more." Simon nodded, feeling the truth of her words settle deep in his chest. "More than I ever expected when I bid on this damn ship," she smiled, reaching out to take his hand, her fingers cool against his warm skin. "We're more than just partners in survival now. We're bound." The word hung between them, heavy with meaning, bound not just by the shared dangers of their mission, but by a connection that was physical, emotionally, and now something far more profound. Their nights had become a sacred space, a refuge where the galaxy's chaos faded into the background. There, in the quiet intimacy of the ship's cabin, Simon and Lyra explored the depths of their connection. Her delicate alien body responded to his human strength with a vulnerability that was breathtaking. His touch sparked waves of pleasure and trust she had never known. Lyra's biology, intricate and finely tuned, was illuminated by the glow of their passion. Her bioluminescent markings pulsed brighter with every caress, and the pheromones she released wrapped around Simon like an intoxicating spell. Yet it was not just desire that bound them. It was the promise of something enduring. Simon, with his broad hands and steady heartbeat, discovered a new purpose in the rhythm of their union. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was a partner, a protector, a lover whose strength and resilience brought comfort and security. They talked often about the future, a future that once seemed impossible. Lyra shared stories of her people's ancient traditions, of families bound by blood and ritual, of hopes that had been crushed by war and betrayal. Simon listened, imagining a life where those hopes could be reborn. "Do you think it's possible?" he asked one night, voice soft but certain. "For us? For a family?" Lyra's silver eyes glistened with unshed tears. More than possible, necessary. Their decision to build a life together wasn't without risk, enemies hunting. The ship were relentless, and the secrets they carried were powerful enough to shake empires. But Simon and Lyra knew that their love, fierce, complicated, and beautiful, was a force no darkness could extinguish. As days turned into weeks, the Star Cruiser transformed from a symbol of danger into a cradle of hope. They fortified the ship's defenses, prepared for every threat, but they also made space for laughter, for stolen kisses in corridors, and for quiet moments wrapped in each other's arms. The unique blend of their biology was a source of wonder and strength. Simon's human endurance complemented Lyra's alien sensitivity, creating a synergy that deepened their bond. Their nights together were not just about passion, but about building trust, healing wounds both old and new. And then, one day, the possibility of family became more than a dream. Lyra revealed an ancient ritual, one that would bind them not just in heart but in body, creating a bond that could give rise to new life. A fusion of human strength and alien grace. Simon looked into her eyes, feeling the weight and the promise of the moment. "Let's do it," he said, voice steady. "For us. For what we can create together." Their union was a celebration of everything they had survived and everything they hoped to become. It was a melding of worlds, a testament to the resilience of love in the face of impossible odds. As the Star Cruiser soared through the endless void carrying them toward unknown horizons. Simon and Lyra held each other close to souls, bound by passion, biology, and the unshakable belief that together they could change the fate of their worlds. Their story was no longer just about survival. It was about legacy, about family, about love that burns brighter than any star. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, cold and distant, but inside the star cruiser, Simon and Lyra felt a warmth that no void of space could ever extinguish. Their journey had carried them through danger, discovery, and passion. But now it led them toward something new, future forged not just by survival, but by choice, trust, and love. The ship hummed gently as they navigated a quiet sector of uncharted space. Lyra stood beside Simon at the helm, her violet skin glowing softly under the dim console lights, her silver eyes reflecting the infinite stars ahead. She reached out, her fingers brushing his, a simple touch full of promise. "We made it through. Hell and back," she said, voice steady but filled with meaning. "And here we are still standing, still fighting. But what now?" Simon smiled, feeling the weight of her question and the freedom in their shared moment. "Now we build. Not just a life together, but something bigger. A family, a legacy." Gaze softened. "Our people never thought such a union was possible, a human and an alien bound, not just by survival, but by love and blood." Simon took her hand firmly in his. "Then it's up to us to show them it is." They began preparing the star cruiser for a new mission, not one of escape or battle, but of hope. Lyra shared her people's ancient knowledge of bonding rituals and the delicate science behind their potential offspring. Simon, with his human biology and strength, was a vital part of this future, carrying the promise of a lineage that could bridge galaxies. As the days passed, their relationship deepened beyond anything either had imagined. Their love was a fusion of passion and partnership, a testament to the strength found in differences embraced rather than feared. Simon's larger, enduring nature complemented Lyra's delicate, bioluminescent grace. Together, they formed a perfect balance. One evening, beneath the starscape projected on the ship's ceiling, they performed the sacred bonding ceremony. Lyra's skin shimmered brighter than ever, their pheromones mingling in the air, wrapping around them like a living shield. The ritual was both intimate and profound, a merging of hearts, bodies, and destinies. Simon felt the surge of life coursing through him, not just in passion, but in purpose. He was more than a survivor now. He was a protector, a partner, and soon, a father. The ship's sensors picked up no immediate threats. The enemies who had hunted them across star systems seemed to have receded, perhaps deterred by the strength of their union or distracted by other wars. For the first time in a long time, Simon and Lyra allowed themselves to breathe, to dream. They talked of the future often, a home where their children could grow safe, a community where humans and Lyra's people might finally find peace. The idea of family wasn't just hope, it was a mission. Yet, even in this calm, Simon remained vigilant. The galaxy was unpredictable, and secrets like theirs rarely stayed hidden for long. But with Lyra at his side, he felt ready for whatever came next. One day, as the ship approached a small, hospitable planet rumored to be welcoming to all species, Simon looked at Lyra and smiled. "This is where we start," Lyra nodded, eyes shining with determination and love. "A new world for us and for those who come after." As the star cruiser descended through the planet's atmosphere, the promise of a new beginning filled the cabin. They were no longer fugitives or strangers. They were a family, human and alien, strength and grace united. Their story, born in a dusty auction and forged in cosmic fire, had become a beacon, a reminder that even among the stars, love could conquer fear, biology could blend, and two very different souls could find a home in each other. Simon took Lyra's hand, their fingers intertwining like the threads of fate itself. Together, they stepped into the unknown, ready to build a future where humanity's fierce heart and alien wonder would shine brighter than any star. And as the planet's twin suns rose, casting golden light across their new home, Simon knew this was just the beginning. A beginning that no auction, no enemy, and no distance could ever take away. They were bound by more than fate. They were bound by love, and that was a power no force in the universe could ever break. Asterisk.